Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Gold Stripe Podcast. I'm Caleb,
I'm James.
and we're here with our second episode. Today we're gonna kind of run through the conference championships that we saw today, and we're gonna have a couple more segments that we hope you guys enjoy. But first off, we're gonna start off with some prayer. So if you bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful day you've given us. Thank you for this opportunity me and James have. We're very blessed to have the facilities here and the opportunity to use our platform to just bring some entertainment to some people, but also spread the gospel. And thank you in your son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Quite some games we had this past Sunday.
Yes, we had a few good ones. For only 2 games, it was filled with excitement.
It was a big day for a lot of people, especially here in Angola. We're into we're less than 2 hours from Detroit, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean 2.5 hours. So a lot of Lions fans here.
A lot of Lions fans. It was definitely, especially this morning at our conditioning class for football. There was a lot of somber football players.
Yeah.
Depressed that the Lions lost.
Made it extra hard for them to get up this morning.
Oh yeah, especially at being at 6:30. Yeah. That felt like it took definitely like two more hours off. But yeah, let's talk about that game first. What happened? What did you see, James?
Well, the problem, I was talking to my roommate about this. At the point where the interception bounced off of the Lions player right into the arms of, was it Juwan Jennings, I believe?
I think so.
That's when I said, I told him right there, I was like, okay, the ball is not going not going the Lions' way.
Mm-hmm.
So it just was one of those things where you could feel the momentum shift, and there's really nothing the Lions could do about it. Yeah. Like, they were just continuously making mistake after mistake. Like that big fourth down play, it wasn't a great ball by Goff. It should have been a better ball, but it was right through the hands. And the fumble, you just can't have that in big games. I mean, you're going to have to play turnover-free ball to beat a good team like San Francisco with all that talent.
Yeah.
So
they definitely had a strong first half. They scored in their first 4 plays, the Lions did.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to be a long game for the Niners if the Lions were able to get that run game going real quick.
Yeah, that was the difference between the first and the second half, too.
Yeah.
In the second half, the 49ers came out and made it a priority that they weren't going to let them run the ball anymore.
Yeah.
That's what changed the game.
Jared Goff, I mean, people are going to give him a lot of slack for that game, and they're going to say that he didn't play good. I mean, he didn't play terrible.
No, not at all.
He played a solid game. It just... his playmakers couldn't make plays, especially in that fourth quarter. It was just they fell apart.
And that's always been the thing with Jared Goff, too. A lot of people have that argument that he's one of those guys who needs playmakers around him to be a good QB. Like, he's almost a system QB unless he has athletes around him, which is, you could say that for a lot of QBs, but he did have a few throws, especially like that one corner route to Laporta. That could have changed the game.
Yeah.
Overthrew it. But that's a hard ball to throw, But you got to make that play in that situation. But overall, he did not play bad at all.
I will say the Lions' offensive line played almost a perfect game.
They played really, really good.
Especially against a really solid 49ers front line.
You can't even say they're solid. I mean, that's
a great. That's a great.
That's a great.
The fact that I feel like they don't get I don't know. It blows my mind. They're literally, that's the best defensive line in the league.
And the Lions held their own.
They got Chase Young, Nick Bosa. Who else they got?
On the interior?
Yeah.
I don't know, but their linebackers are crazy.
It's just, they got Fred Warner. That whole defense is just, I don't know. That's what, going into the Super Bowl is my biggest question mark is even though they're such a crazy defense, they haven't been playing like it.
Yeah, it's almost like they need some, it's almost like they still need time to mesh.
Yeah.
But they don't have that time right now.
I feel like ever since they got Chase Young, they've been not as, dominant as they were, which is, it's hard to put that into perspective because of how good they are, but just like they haven't been at that same spot as they've been.
Well, and the expectation after they got Chase Young too was, you're going from here all
Right.
the way to
They
here.
thought that they were going to
been.
get sacked every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that should be the expectation when you have Chase Young and Nick Bosa on opposite sides. Those are two absolute beasts.
Yeah.
2 top 10 defensive ends in the NFL. But yeah, they just haven't got the results they wanted. Yeah. But at the same time, this is a team that could definitely put it all together just at the right time.
Yeah.
But the real thing that stood out to me is the Lions rookies. They played. This is, big time playoff football. Like, this is the real deal. You're not playing the Buccaneers anymore. This is playing a good defense. And, Jahmyr Gibbs, he only had 45 yards, but he still had a big touchdown. And Sam Laporta, 9 receptions, 97 yards. For a tight end,
Yeah.
That's pretty close to what Kelsey got. So, he was playing really good. And Jameson Williams, I almost forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had some big plays.
If you're the 49ers going into the Super Bowl, what's your biggest concern? We'll definitely talk about this. So me and James talked about this. We're gonna take a week in between. We're gonna have a podcast still next week, but we're gonna wait until the week leading to the Super Bowl to talk about the Super Bowl. Yeah. Just so we hear all who's available, just so we can get all the information and have that all ready. So yeah. So we won't go too in depth about the Super Bowl here, but what do you think is the 49ers' biggest concern going in?
Oh, it's definitely Brock Purdy. He proved himself. He made some big time plays when he needed to. So I don't think the question mark's Brock Purdy anymore. I think he's not, he's not going to be a crazy, he's not going to go absolutely nuts and he's not Patrick Mahomes,
Right.
But at the same time, he's going to get the job done. So I think, looking at how Jared Goff shredded that secondary, especially in the first half, they tightened up a little bit in the second half, but their secondary and their linebackers covering receivers in their zone, if they try to play zone versus the Chiefs, it's just, I think Patrick Mahomes will tear them apart. Yeah. So they're going to have to play man, but I don't know if they can match up on Kelsey. That's the only problem.
I think another big thing is they've been kind of starting slow. They started slow against the Packers, and they started real slow against the Lions. I feel like against the Chiefs, you got to have firepower the whole game.
Yeah.
Because we saw that against their game against the Ravens. They just came out swinging, and that's kind of been their mentality this postseason is yeah, we're the bad guys now. We're gonna come out, we're gonna set the tempo. So for me, that's the biggest thing is, can the Niners get out and not be hot off the start? But
yeah, that's gonna be a huge impact on the game because they could come back still. That's the 49ers MO right now.
Yeah,
but given Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and that defense, giving them all that confidence, it's gonna be tough, especially with that defense. Because the Detroit defense is good, but I think the Chiefs defense have been playing some good football right now.
They've been playing solid. They played real solid against the Ravens, which is what we're gonna get into now is. The Chiefs versus the Ravens, which was probably, I would say, was the bigger game of the weekend. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say overall, but not in our area.
Not in our area, yeah. The Lions, if the Lions won, we were going to hear about it, and if they won the Super Bowl, Lord help us all, we were going to hear about it for years.
Oh, yeah, there'd be riots everywhere.
But yeah, a fun fact for everybody that didn't know. So the Trine basketball team played at the Pistons Stadium right after the Pistons played. They got the dub against Adrian, but I know a lot of people went to the watching party at Ford Field afterwards. So I just can't imagine I can't imagine the atmosphere that was, especially with them losing too. That's got to be devastating.
Devastating. This was the year for the Lions.
This was. Where they go now, it's going to be a big question.
Yeah. I don't want to get too much into this, but I don't see how they have the same success as they did this year.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate because the 49ers, were clearly the better team all year. But Detroit was, hoping for that one game that they could, squeak out and make it to the Super Bowl. But
I will say, too, when the Rams won in 2021, who did they have to go through? The Niners in the conference championship. So you got to go through the Niners, and we're going to see that. But now on to the Chiefs and Ravens. Lamar Jackson. what in the world was that?
And looking at the stats, I mean, I just looking at him just now, 272 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception, and with like 50 more rushing yards. On paper, it doesn't look like he played that bad, but it felt 10 times worse watching it live.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was missing. How many times was there a deep ball wide open? It's a hard throw.
It wasn't wide open,
not wide open, but he had a step, and
right.
elite quarterbacks make those throws. At least one of them, and it was overthrow after overthrow, and it's sad because he's been given this reputation of this guy can only run. He's a
right.
game changer with his feet. He's not a real QB, and he's proven him right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
We talked about this. Like, for me, just watching the game, like, it just looked like he was trying to prove to, like, everybody that he can sit in the pocket and not have to run. And it was just like, why? Like, what do you have to prove? Like, just, like, play your game. Like, who cares if you're a running back? Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he should have went first check, not there. Second check, not there. Get out.
Yeah.
But he was just waiting like
be Lamar.
He was waiting 5 seconds. Yeah, that's why they have him in. Like, he's not in there to be Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Like, he's not in there to. Yeah, they have a good offensive line, but like, he's not supposed to wait 5 seconds and throw the ball. Like, if the first two aren't there, get him out of there.
But give credit to Jackson though too. There was a couple times during the game where he showed, he's still that guy.
He had a couple glimpses. Big touchdown.
That first touchdown.
We were watching
wow.
that together. That was
one of the craziest plays I've ever seen.
It was
gorgeous.
He dipped, ducked, and dodged and got up out of there and
threw an absolute dime.
Threw a dime. And then he caught his own pass.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Miraculous.
When I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, they're winning this game.
I thought for sure. I was like, the Ravens will not lose this game. Lamar's
that was probably one of the craziest plays I've seen by a quarterback ever. Like, he caught it in stride.
It looked so athletic.
Like, it looked like it was a drawn up play.
Yeah, it really did.
But yeah, like, that's, I don't know. It seemed like Lamar Jackson was trying to prove to people that he could be an elite quarterback that is a pocket passer, which was not necessary. Like, they were out of their game. I know you talked to some people and they said like the exact same thing. Like, that was not the that wasn't the Ravens type of game.
And I almost felt like it wasn't even Lamar's fault almost in a way. Like, I don't know if he was checking out or whatever. Like, it's hard to tell in the NFL who's at fault. But I feel like John Harbaugh even, like some of the play calls.
Yeah.
I mean, where was the read options, on first and second down? Letting Lamar, because they said the week before versus the Texans, Lamar, he wants the ball in his hands in big games. He's not scared of getting hurt, blah, blah, blah. That's why the read option is going to be so deadly in the playoffs. And then they just went away from the read option. That's like their bread and butter.
Yeah.
And it's tough because that's what teams are scared of when they face the Ravens. They're scared of Lamar running it and Lamar scrambling.
Yeah. That's what we saw. Like, the Bills had success against the Chiefs last week and the week before. With Josh Allen, like, he was not only deadly in the air, but he could get out of there. Like, he got out and made plays on the ground. And like Lamar Jackson, when he won the MVP, that was his game. Like, I remember watching the game and he would have like two like QB draws, like a drive.
Yeah. Like,
it was just a set play. Like, he'd stop back and then they would just run. Like, it worked. He got like 10 yards, 12 yards after every play on that.
Yeah. And on that, the first couple of drives too, they were running those read options or those QB powers, and they were getting good yards. They were chunking them, and then they kind of went away from that, went to more of a drop back on second and third down instead of staying steady to your game.
They couldn't get a lot of first downs either.
Yeah,
it was just the Chiefs defense. Like, credit to them, they played a great game, especially like Zay Flowers. He's a great talent.
He played a great game.
He played a great game.
If not for those huge mistakes.
Yeah. He played like he played like a rookie, if we're gonna be honest. Like, he
really did.
His experience showed, and it showed like in that game too against the Ravens. Like, he had that big play, and then he had the taunting penalty.
Yeah, and that's just a stupid play.
Yeah. Like, you got to know in that situation. Yeah, like, people were saying, like, oh, it was Travis Kelce. It wouldn't have been a penalty. Travis Kelce's not that stupid.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to shove a guy down and then stand on top of him. Like, get the ball back in. Like, celebrate with your teammates.
Yeah. All you have to do there is, you can flex, you can do whatever, but you can't push him down and then stare at him and stand over him.
I'd be interested to see. So, So that play happened, right? They get pushed back 15 because of the taunting. He then gets you mentioned this too. You're like, oh, maybe he was just sandbagging that so like he could get the yards.
More yards. He wanted the yards.
Well, how many yards did he get on that play? I don't think because
he
like
got another like 20 on the next couple plays.
he got it back.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering like, what if he was like a few yards short, and then that led to like him being a few yards short in the end zone when they punched the ball out. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
But it sounds like he wasn't. But
yeah, but I mean that's just unfortunately that's not even that reaching for the ball that happens all the time. That's a freak play.
That was just that was a great play by the defender.
He's going to catch a lot of hate for that, but it really wasn't. I mean that's a common play in the NFL, and unfortunately, if you're reaching like that, the ball's not tucked. Defenders are going to have a chance to smoke it.
Yeah. I mean that's what they're taught too. Like you see that and. But I mean that's just the game. Like there's nothing. Yeah, he's throwing out as hard as he can. He's gonna get hate for that because like that kind of and ultimately losing the game, but it would have made it like it would still made it a game at the end.
Yeah.
But, because they had that was Chiefs ball. It was a touchback because they recovered it.
It was Chiefs ball at the 25. Yeah.
And then they went back down. I think and kicked a field goal. But like. If you're the Ravens and you're down, what was it, 17-7 at halftime?
Yeah.
And you tell them that the Chiefs aren't gonna score in the second half. I mean, you got to feel good.
Oh, you're feeling real confident.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially with Lamar Jackson, but that just didn't happen. I don't know. Like their offense, like
they just didn't have an explosive threat in the second half. They had the Zay Flowers play. But besides that, they didn't have any big plays. Like the checkdowns were working.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Odell picked up. I had no idea. I forgot about him until we started mentioning him, and then he popped in at the end. Like he had a couple good plays. He had a big fourth down conversion. Mm-hmm. But that brings up the question: like, do the Ravens have any weapons? Like,
Zay Flowers definitely has that potential.
He does.
But the thing with the Ravens, I feel like the last couple years. They've consistently not had an elite running back. And they're such a run-based team. And it seems crazy to me that they're so elite. Like, imagine what they could do if they had that elite running back.
Yeah.
Like, J.K. Dobbins, has been their guy, but he's hurt. I mean, 2 consecutive years he's gotten, season-ending injuries. They're probably going to move on from him. Mm-hmm. They need a guy who can help Lamar in the run game a little bit. Because the problem, I mean, in the second half, first down, they were getting stuffed for, 1 yard, and then they were almost forced to throw. Mm-hmm. When you want to, get 2-3 yards, run it again, and then get to, third and manageable and let Lamar be able to run a little bit.
Yeah.
Try to get that first down. But penalties, too.
Yeah.
I just want to toss that out there. I mean, 95 yards worth of penalties is real tough. What is it 4 personal fouls?
Yeah, you can't have that.
No.
But, I mean, that's what you're going to get in an AFC game against the Chiefs. Like they're both two physical teams. The Ravens notorious for being a roughening team. Like I feel like the Ravens have always been carried by their defense, especially when they won the Super Bowl. Like they had a stacked defense.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they had an NFL legend and Joe Flacco at quarterback, but like they haven't really had those offensive weapons.
Mm. It's kind of been John Harbaugh's thing.
They really got by just being like a mediocre offense and having a phenomenal defense. And I think that's what they had this year too. Is they had a great quarterback in Lamar Jackson that he will be the MVP. But and they had Zay Flowers. They had Mark Andrews for a little bit. Mm-hmm. He played all right. But like other than that, like Odell is old.
Yeah,
he was just there.
Got replaced by Nelson Aguilar. I mean,
he was also old.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think of the 4 teams in the conference championships this year, like the Ravens are probably the most concerned for their future because they got to figure a lot out.
Well, I feel like for the Ravens though, all you have to figure out is almost. You need to draft weapons, but they do have their defense is pretty young. Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
Their whole team is young.
Yeah, once they figure out the winning part and just get those few more weapons, I feel like the overreactions are a little bit extreme. I mean, they're a couple weapons away from being a
You're
Super
saying my
Bowl.
overreactions?
Yeah, I think that's an overreaction.
Really?
Yes.
Who do you think? I think the Lions are in great position to keep being the same team for the next 3 or 4 years.
That's true. I guess out of these 4 teams, it'd have to be between, I would say, the Lions.
It's got to be the Ravens. Chiefs are just
Yeah.
going to be dominant. I mean, they're getting old a little bit, but like
But they play in a weak division.
they do, and
Yeah.
like they know how to win.
That's true too. The Ravens are playing in one of the hardest divisions in football. If Joe Burrow's back and Deshaun Watson's back, it's going to be real tough to win games.
Yeah.
So
Like the Niners are going to be good. Like they're pretty young for the most part. I mean,
Yeah.
And what in the areas they're not young is like they have like all pros and legends.
they have players who are absolute dogs.
Like they're
So,
like legend like Aaron Donald, like his position is like an old, like you can't be old, but he's pretty old for his position, but he's just so good.
it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter. Like he can keep playing. But I think the Ravens have the biggest, and it's not like they're doomed.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
they just
I got
have
what
they have of the 4 teams in this conference, these conference play championships. They have the most question marks, and they have the most to figure out this offseason.
Yeah. I feel like the real question mark is Lamar, can he play elite football in the playoffs?
I think he
With
can.
his arm.
I think he can.
I think so too.
I think he just needs to play Lamar ball. He didn't play Lamar ball
Yeah.
against the Chiefs. He played, I'm going to prove you guys that I can do it. Like, okay, you already proven it all year that you can play Lamar ball and win us games.
Yeah, you can't outduel Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
It's just not going to happen.
Patrick Mahomes is probably the best quarterback in the league
Yeah, no doubt.
by far. That's his game though. Is sitting in the court, like sitting in the pocket, like waiting. Like he can make plays. He can scramble. He knows when to get out. He knows when to make a play. He knows when to throw it away. Like Lamar Jackson, I just don't think he's developed that much yet.
Yeah.
Like, he's still figuring it all out, which is like.
But Lamar's never going to be that type of guy either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's not his game.
Yeah,
Lamar's a
That's what makes him so special.
He's a Michael Vick type of player. That's just how he plays. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, he's going to win his second MVP. But if he wants to get to the next level, like, he just got to play that type of ball all the time.
Yeah.
But so now, me and James, speaking of Patrick Mahomes being the top quarterback, we're going to talk about our top 10 quarterbacks in the league and just kind of get a little debate going about that.
Oh, yeah.
You
Should be a
you
fun.
saw we already saw each other's lists, so like we already know what we're gonna yell at each other about. But you want to do the honors and start us off?
All right, I'll start us off here. So we got a pretty obvious number 1, Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Best QB in the league. He's a winner. He's a lot like Tom Brady. Even if it's not the prettiest game, he's going to win. And he showed that this postseason, especially with an unproven team with unproven weapons.
If they win the Super Bowl this year, he's got to be closing in on Tom Brady.
Yeah, because this team, this offense, that defense
If
is
you would have
elite,
told me,
but
if you would have told me when they lost to, who was it? Was it the Bills? It was a really bad game. I think it was the Bills game where they didn't get the penalty, and Patrick Mahomes was saying like,
oh yeah, the Bills game, yeah.
yeah, and that like watching that game, I was like, there's no way. I think I made the joke too. I was like, they're gonna end up in the Super Bowl because that's just what they do.
Yeah,
They just find ways to end up in the Super Bowl.
and you hate them for it.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean Patrick Mahomes, you can't stop him.
Yeah. So that's a clear number 1. Number 2, Josh Allen. And while his interceptions are, it's annoying to be honest, because he's such a good player. He's so hard to stop in the run game, and he's got such a talented arm. But those interceptions are, some of them are just stupid.
I would say I'm kind of questioning his playmaking too right now.
Really?
Like there was a couple times when they played the Chiefs where I was like, that's an interesting ball. Like why?
Yeah.
Why would you go there?
Yeah, he was almost trying to do too much sometimes.
Yeah, they're like that's his thing too. Is like he tries to go for the home run plays and tries to squeeze it in where it might not need to, and where he might just have Stephon Diggs wide open, which he did multiple times.
All right, so Patrick Mahomes number 1, Josh Allen number 2, Joe Burrow number 3. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, even though he didn't play much this year. He's that guy.
Yeah.
he's going to continue to be that guy,
Yep.
especially if he has Jamar Chase with him.
Absolutely.
Or Dak Prescott. The dude played absolutely phenomenal this year. He had one bad game in the playoffs, and it wasn't even an atrocious game by any means. I mean, he definitely didn't play good, but it wasn't as bad as everyone made it seem.
Mm-hmm.
But he had an MVP caliber year for sure. At number 5, I got Matthew Stafford. We got a proven winner. He's one of those guys who you know is going to lead the locker room. And he got crazy. He's really talented. But I'm really focused on the winning aspect in this one.
Yeah.
That's why I have him over my number 6.
Yeah. Matthew Stafford played a really good season. He had a really good season. He came back. He was injured last year. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks. I mean, he got my team a Super Bowl. So, I mean, you can't hate the guy. Just watching highlights of him, like, playing with a broken shoulder and scoring a touchdown like that.
He's a team guy.
He is definitely a team guy.
All right, at number 6, we got Lamar Jackson. He would have been higher on my list, but he kind of fell yesterday. I mean, it's just his arm talent. His arm talent it's crazy. It's good, but the lack of a deep ball and him always trying to do too much, it just concerns me. Mm-hmm. It dropped him a little bit. I would have put him over Matthew Stafford, but at 7, we got Tua Tagovailoa. He gets a lot of hate, but he had a phenomenal year. And he's got weapons, but you can't fault him for that. He's making good throws consistently.
Yeah. For Tua is a big question mark for me. He wasn't on my list.
Really?
Believe it or not. But just watching, like, the Hard Knocks series, like, I don't know. I feel like he's not fit for this league, if I'm being honest. Like, he doesn't seem to have, like, a competitive edge to him. He just seems more like a thinker quarterback. Like, I need to do this to this to this. Whereas he's like, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to beat you. I just don't think he has that, as the kids say, that dog in him.
Yeah.
But he has, like, there was no reason for them to not be one of the best teams in the league this year and just still be playing right now. Well, there's no reason for them to.
I think part of the reason was team toughness.
Well, injuries also.
Also injuries. But I'm just saying versus the Chiefs, the team toughness aspect, going into that cold weather, they weren't prepared for it.
I mean, Tyreek Hill was.
Yeah. But the Chiefs, they were ready for it.
Yeah, that was perfect for them. Like,
best case scenario.
Oh, absolutely. Like, that makes you question, is the NFL rigged?
Yeah.
Because, like, you're really going to bring the team from Miami up to, like, one of the coldest games in NFL history. And, like, we talked about it. His freaking helmet, like, Patrick Mahomes' was that game? That was the Bills game.
No, it was the Miami game.
But, like, his helmet broke. And, like,
that's crazy. All right, so at 8, we got C.J. Stroud, a young rookie, but he just throws absolute darts.
He was
dimes. Like this in college, and people were down him, saying, oh, Bryce Young, he's 10 times better, blah, 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 blah. C.J. Stroud might fall. People might take Will Levis. No. C.J. Stroud has proved time and time again he's got an elite arm talent, and he's just a locker room guy, an unselfish guy that everyone likes. And at 9, we got my own Jordan Love. And the reason I put him over here, it's because
you're a Packers fan?
No, it was a serious discussion between him and Brock Purdy or Jared Goff. But how many touchdowns he had this year? 32 touchdowns with one of the youngest offenses in the NFL. That's crazy. He had one more touchdown than Brock Purdy.
I think the same amount of interceptions. Hater, if I'm being honest.
If Jordan Love had CMC, Juwan Jennings, Debo, and that O-line, he's going to be doing some things, all right? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's not like, listen, it's not like you could go out there right now and lead your team to a Super Bowl. Like, if I put James Ruppel in there, like, it takes a lot to be an NFL quarterback.
No, I get that. I'm not dissing Brock Purdy.
I mean, you are.
No.
He's not even on your list.
He's at like 12 right now. It's between 12 is like between him and Trevor Lawrence are fighting for 12. In my opinion.
Okay.
At 10, we got Jared Goff. He's caught a lot of hate this year, but statistically, he's had one of the better years in the NFL right now. Mm-hmm. He's played really, really well. He gives the ball to his weapons when he needs to, but he has been making some good throws. And he has won some games for the Lions. So I feel like, Jared Goff rounding out the top 10 seems good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, what do you got?
So for my number 1, obviously, we got the GOAT right now. Mahomes, I don't think he's had a bad year yet.
No.
Like, he had a bad year this year because his receivers sucked.
And now he's going to the Super Bowl.
And now they're in the Super Bowl. So, like, if they win the Super Bowl, it doesn't even matter. And then I got Joe Burrow at number 2. I think that cat is cold.
Yeah. I agree with that. The only reason I had him at number 3 is just because this year,
I think Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, they go back and forth like year to year.
They're always fighting for
Joe
that second
Burrow
spot.
is a lot more injury prone than Josh Allen. That's the biggest question mark I have. But I mean, when he's in, he's Joe Shiesty.
Yeah.
Number 3, I have my GOAT, Rodgers.
Wow.
Discount double check.
That's crazy to me.
He barely played this year, but you can't tell me that guy still got it.
I just don't think he's,
if he would have played this year, he would have led the Jets to the playoffs. That's just a fact.
Yeah, because of the defense, though.
And because he's so good.
He would have played good enough for them to make the playoffs. But he wouldn't have been, he's not a top 10 quarterback.
But okay. Remember we talked about we were talking about how the comeback player of the year, we said who would win, DeMar Hamlin, who came back from death, or Joe Flacco, who came back from the Jets, which is basically worse than coming back from death. Rodgers is on the Jets.
Yeah.
And they have a really good defense, but boy, that quarterback, Zach Wilson, did not do the job for them.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But Rodgers still got it.
We'll have to see next year.
We'll have to see.
We'll come back to that. I'll let you finish your list.
Number 4, I got Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I mean, he's the modern day Tom Brady. Not Tom Brady. Peyton Manning.
I was going to say, that'd be crazy.
He's the modern day Peyton Manning, in my opinion. I just think, he can sit in there, sling that thing, get it in the, tight spots, but he can also move, which Peyton Manning cannot do. I saw a thing the other day was screw it, Peyton Manning rushing highlights, and it was just the goofiest thing.
Yeah. Him and Tom Brady, they would have duels over the worst.
Dude, I think Tom Brady has I think he has, how many career rushing yards do you think Tom Brady has?
It's not very much. It might be under 100.
No, I think it's over.
Really? Yeah, look that up quick. It can't be very many.
I thought it was a lot, more than you would think. He has over 1,000.
Rush yards?
Rushing yards. I thought it was 1,000.
There's no way.
But I didn't want to say that.
Wait. We got to think, though. How many years he play? 20?
35?
He played 22 years. So he was only averaging what's that? 50 rush yards a game? Or a season, I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not, that is doable.
It's real doable. You have one good rush Tom Brady, one good rush is 8 yards, so.
Yeah. Then at number 5, I got Brock Purdy. And let me tell you why Brock Purdy's number 5, okay? Mr. Irrelevant, okay? Came out of Iowa State, had no expectations. They put him in, As soon as he got in, he was a dog. Yeah, so what? He's got really good weapons around him. But it's hard to play quarterback in the NFL. And he is shown that he can be a dog. He's an MVP candidate this year. He played all right. I wouldn't say he played terrible in the first half. They weren't getting things going. The Lions were kind of shutting things down. But the second half, he looked like Tom Brady.
He looked good. He
looked like a stone cold killer. He was just, boom, first down. Boom, first down. He was just making plays.
And you got to remember he's a second-year player, and he's playing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's a top 10 guy, and I'll argue that later. But I'll let you finish your list again.
Okay.
Because it's going to get heated, I think.
So at number 6, I got Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
We both had Lamar at 6. I guess that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Right now.
You want to put him top tier, top 5, but it's
there's so many good quarterbacks.
Yeah. And those guys have proven they're killers, in the top 5. So.
They have their credibility.
Yeah.
Number 7, I got Dak Prescott. I think Dak gets a lot of hate, but they haven't done it yet. Once they make it to the Super Bowl, I think he'll be up there, but he just hasn't sealed the deal yet. He's had a lot of really good teams. He's always played good. He's had a couple bad years, but I think right now he's had number like Lamar. They're still improving. Still got to make it past the conference championship. Have the Cowboys haven't been to the conference championship, have they?
No, they actually. I saw something the other day. It was the Cowboys and the Commanders are the only teams to not make the conference championship in like 25 years.
That is wild.
Like in the past quarter century.
That is crazy. That's saying something.
All the team and all the good teams the Cowboys have had. I mean, it's crazy to think how they still haven't made it to a conference championship.
I mean, the Packers own the Cowboys, so like,
that's 18
it just happens.
Field.
That's just how it happens.
Love it.
They'll have a good team, and then they'll just get matched up against the Packers, like a subpar like record Packers, and then the Packers.
It's a culture thing. The Packers just know we own the Cowboys. That's how it is.
So number 8, I got C.J. Stroud. He had a great rookie year this year, probably the best of all time rookie seasons. Yeah, I mean, they went to the second round. They played pretty good first half, but I mean, they eventually lost.
The Ravens defense.
Yeah, they stepped up. Lamar Jackson stepped up in that game too, but I mean, that was the Lamar Jackson we wanted to see.
Yeah,
this week,
just didn't happen.
And then number 9, I got Matty Stafford. He's getting old, but he's still a really, really good quarterback. Came back this year from an injury, and he just balled out. He did Matthew Stafford things, made great plays. Like, you don't see quarterbacks like literally throw it like sidearm like he does. Like, he throws it sidearm.
Yeah.
Like Patrick Mahomes, like, he threw a little Mahomie, but like Patrick Mahomes, like, I feel like he doesn't throw it like Matthew Stafford does.
Matthew Stafford, he's got some arm talent.
He's slinging that thing.
That's why he's in my top 5. I mean, he can throw the rock.
Yeah. He's one like he was Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But people don't give him credit because he's on terrible Lions.
The bum Lions teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kept getting hurt because he's giving his all to those teams. I mean, that's another thing too. Like, you want to have a quarterback like Matthew Stafford that like is a team player.
Yeah.
And like, so what? He didn't care that he was on a bum Lions team. Like, he wanted to make the Lions what they are right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
it's a shame that they had to trade him to get to where they are today.
But like, I'm kind of glad we
traded him. But he got a Super Bowl. I'm sure he's not complaining.
I'm not complaining either. I think it was a great trade. Worked out for both teams.
Really did.
And then number 10, I got your boy, Jordan Love. Dude's literally just a mini version of Aaron Rodgers. The way he throws that ball, man.
The way he throws that little floater off the back foot, little jump pass. It's beautiful. Right in the breadbasket every time.
It's like you talked about this too a couple of times. Is like the way the Packers develop their quarterbacks. You don't understand why other teams don't do it.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me because it's almost like having the quarterbacks learn the right way and having them learn from mistakes in practice and letting them develop new skills in practice is way better than throwing them out in the pressure filled, like heat of the game and forcing them to do only the things they're good at. They don't learn that way. Because unfortunately, I mean, you're trying to win. You need to do the things you're good at. You can't experiment. You can't, get better at the things you're not good at because you're so focused on, trying to win, which is, you need to do that if you're trying to be, a good quarterback in the NFL. But
yeah, because I don't think the Chiefs have like a rookie backup. Like, wouldn't it be a good idea for them to have a backup like that draft and he gets to literally be in the quarterback room with Patrick Mahomes every day and gets to learn from him. But I think also another thing that like the league struggles with is quarterback play in general. Like, not a lot of teams have a good quarterback that's always healthy. So like rookies are always being put in.
Yeah.
Whereas like the Packers are always consistently healthy. Like, Rodgers had a couple years.
He did.
Where he was banged up, but like Brett Favre was never hurt.
No.
And so Rodgers like never got he never got to play. So he was always like developing and so like Jordan Love he got a couple glimpses and he showed a little bit, but he still wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my top 10.
All right. Not a bad list, but Brock Purdy at 5 is outrageous to me. So I don't see if you're a GM and you're picking out of these out of Brock Purdy, Lamar, Dak, Stroud, Stafford, and Jordan Love, I don't see how you're taking Brock Purdy, honestly, over any of them.
Well, let me tell you this. If I'm picking between Brock Purdy and Lamar, the reason I'm going to pick Brock Purdy just to build my team around is because Brock Purdy is a more traditional quarterback than Lamar Jackson, whereas Lamar is like a more of a weapon instead of a quarterback.
But that makes Lamar so much more like talented and special.
Yeah, but in the long run, like I think Brock Purdy has more potential and like he has more intangibles. Like, Brock Purdy has a better arm than Lamar Jackson. Like he has a more accurate arm, and like he can run. Like he ran pretty well.
Yeah.
Against the Lions, whereas Lamar Jackson, like he can run and stuff, and he can make a couple plays, but I feel like that arm like accuracy isn't there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's only some of the time though. That's the thing. Lamar isn't consistently, not making plays with his arm. He's a good passer.
Yeah.
It's just he's got so much potential. I don't know how you can't take he changes the game. He changes the way people play defense.
Yeah, but then sometimes he overthinks and plays like he did against the Chiefs.
Which 275 yards, and 50
a quiet
yards.
275
but
yards.
Yeah, it was a quiet.
But speaking of the Chiefs, we're gonna kind of talk about the villains, I would say, of the Super Bowl this year and of the league. But why do you think the Chiefs are hated so much this year?
I think it's a combination of Taylor Swift is a big number one.
Mm-hmm.
She's, for a lot of football fans, she's kind of I don't want to say she's ruining the game because it's nice. You want to get, you want to get more people involved with the game. You want to get more people interested because once they get interested, then they actually, maybe they actually enjoy football and they never would know it.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. But it gets annoying.
It does.
Because Travis Kelce is trying to, give his post-game speech about how hard the Chiefs worked and how, they won and they're so tough, they played tough, blah, 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 trying to give praise to his team who won the conference championship.
Mm-hmm.
And the camera's on Taylor Swift. The glory needs to be given to the guys who actually played.
Mm-hmm.
And too much of the attention is given to Taylor Swift for views, and it's annoying.
It's like she's a part of the team now.
Yeah.
Like the NFL just posted something today, and the number of Taylor Swift references on their post for the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. I'm like I make the argument when, let's say, Patrick Mahomes makes it throws a touchdown to somebody, they're not panning the camera onto his wife or his brother. Those are two big personalities in social media and whatnot. Why they have to do it to Taylor Swift? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it takes the attention off what is actually meaningful to football.
Mm-hmm.
It's those guys are working their butts off. They're physically getting beat down. They're beating on each other, and we're giving all the attention, all the fame to a singer.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool that she's there. It's really cool. Great, good for them. If they find love, that's great. I'm not hating on the relationship, but it just gets annoying.
Yeah,
it's a little too much. All right. Secondly, the Bills-Chiefs game. Oh, my goodness.
I have a lot to say about this, too.
Yeah. The fact that Patrick Mahomes thinks he's so entitled to get a call from the refs that he wants the refs to blatantly ignore a common rule because it was a great play and it would have won them the game.
He was offsides.
He's offsides. And as a receiver, how do you do that?
You don't.
You literally have to look at the ref and they will tell you if you're offsides or not.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say, back up.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is look. But Kadarius Toney refuses to be a normal football player. I don't understand how he does it.
He played so bad this year.
I don't understand how he does it.
Did he play in the conference championship?
No, they actually he was actually injured. But he told them, or he went on Instagram Live and said how he wasn't actually injured. The Chiefs just didn't want him to play, basically.
I don't blame him. He's been terrible all year.
Fair enough.
They didn't want to get that risk of him choking the game. But yeah, that game really ignited the hatred I have for the Chiefs, especially Patrick Mahomes, because so what, you lost. Whoop-de-doo. Life sucks. You're going to lose. But that doesn't mean you have to be a jerk about it and go up and shake Josh Allen's hand, who won, and say, unbelievable call.
And Patrick Mahomes, he is the one guy in the NFL who cannot complain about the refs not giving him calls.
Right.
He is the one guy who gets the most calls out of anybody. And he's complaining because it was a blatant offsides. It wasn't it wasn't a 50-50 call. It was blatantly offsides.
The NFL would be a lot more fun of a place if the refs just threw away flags if it was a good play or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just not how the game works. It's never worked that way.
It makes no sense. It just, why would the undisciplined team?
Don't get me wrong, it was a crazy play.
It was wild.
Travis Kelce threw a crazy lateral for them to score.
Never seen before.
Travis Kelce scares me. Like if I'm a Chiefs fan, he scares me sometimes.
He's unpredictable. That's the beauty of it.
But like, why did he have to say that like to Josh Allen? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just don't be a sore loser. Like if you want to say something like to somebody else or like the media, don't say it to the guy that just beat you. Like he played a good game. Like don't be hating. Like I don't think he was saying it to like Josh Allen. Like wow, you guys got lucky because of it. But he was just like he didn't say like good game, man. You play great. Blah blah blah. He said unbelievable call. Like,
and it wasn't unbelievable. Like he's acting.
And you
like
saw Josh Allen's face. He was like,
he's acting like this was something that's never called in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's never called because receivers are normally intelligent. Normally they have a couple brain cells.
Unfortunately,
Kadarius Toney just he left them all. You know, he left them all at the Giants. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
He left them all in the Super Bowl after they won.
Yeah,
he had that one great punt return, and I don't know what's happened since.
Yeah, it's crazy. And third, I feel like the Chiefs have embraced the villain role, almost like the Patriots did back in their heyday, and it's making them more hated.
Everybody loved them. Like everybody was rooting for them when they were playing the Patriots, and now they're the Patriots.
They turned into the Patriots.
I mean, that's how it worked, though.
And the antics with Justin Tucker. Like, was that really necessary?
No, it wasn't. That's just Travis Kelce, I think. And, like, Travis Kelce, he gets on my nerves sometimes. Like, he's just a diva. Like, he taunts, so, like, he gets away with it because, like, he's not stupid.
He's smart. He's smart about it. That's what makes it you almost hate him for it, for how smart he is.
Yeah. Zay Flowers is not smart.
Yeah. Not at all.
Like, there's an element to the game where trash talk and stuff like that is, like, a part of it. It's just... And the fact that he's so good is what makes it. And he's a likable guy. You said that.
Yeah.
Like their podcast. Hey,
so fun.
Shout out to New Heights again.
Yep. We'd love to be on.
Second episode in a row. Like if you want some D3 football players. But like he's such a likable guy. And then he's one of those guys you hate to play against because like he's so good and like he's such a competitor. It's like the icing on the cake for them. But me personally, I am not cheering for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
No, and I feel like almost nobody is.
Yeah.
But they thrive when they're hated.
Yeah.
Because they're the new Patriots. I guess that's just what they do.
Yep. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great game in the Super Bowl. We're like we said, we're going to talk about it here in the next, not next podcast, but the podcast after. We don't really know yet. It's going to be a surprise episode, I think.
We'll see if we can cook something up for you guys.
Something special. But,
surprise.
But yeah, I think that's all we got for today for this podcast. I just want to say thank you guys for everybody that watched the last podcast. Like, this is something that me and James just wanted to do for fun. Like, we haven't been like dying to do this. Like, it's just something like that we enjoy really, and we just want to sit down and talk sports and be able to show it to everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be doing this anyway.
Yeah.
So,
do you want to shout out your brother?
Recording it. Shout out T Money.
But yeah,
I like those comments. Keep them rolling.
Yeah, like we'll add our email if you guys have any like if you don't want to comment stuff, but like if you have any ideas on stuff we should add, segments we should talk about, things that we popped up, anything, like we'll add our email. You guys can send stuff to. Yeah, we post stuff on here on YouTube, but we also post an audible version on Spotify if you have that, and yeah, so that's all I got. James, you got anything else?
Yep. Thank you guys so much for watching. Caleb and James, tuning out.